I've listened to Tapestry by Carole King for months.
And I listened to it once yesterday.
Welcome to Spin It. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Spin It, the record ranking podcast for people who would rather be listening to music. I'm James, and with me is Connor.
Hello.
Hello, indeed. Oh, I am so excited for this episode. This is, I think, the last, major piece of healing before the end of the year of healing.
It's coming fast.
It's coming fast, and I think Tapestry is a great album to finish strong. This is one of those albums that as soon as I listened to it, I knew it was going to get an episode, and I was really, really excited about that episode.
Carole King. Famous. Very, very well-known name.
It is. Yeah, is it a name that you know well?
Yeah. Go ahead, ask.
What, I just did? Is it a name that you know well?
No, that's not the question I want you to ask. I said yes, so now ask the follow-up question.
Oh, how well?
What don't I know about Carole King?
Yeah, great question. I don't know.
Thank you for letting me get my catchphrase out of the way.
You're welcome.
But no, Carole King is one of those names that I'm obviously like, oh yeah, Carole King, that's a name I recognize, but I don't know if I could have named a song.
Oh, but I'm 100% sure you knew multiple songs on this album.
Oh, I know them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, but I don't think I could have named them. If you were just like, quick, gun to your head, name a Carole King song, I would just have been like, shoot me.
That's not one, but good guess.
Put me out of my misery.
Well, hopefully we could change that. Honestly, you could name a lot of songs from a lot of artists. Carole King, I mean, she's one of the most successful songwriters in ever, of all time. She's just one of the most. I think you definitely know more Carole King songs than you think you know. According to Rolling Stone, actually, they said that if you play all the songs that Carole King has had on the Billboard charts back to back, you'd be listening for almost 5 entire hours in 3-minute song segments.
Wow.
That is prolific. That's so much music. If I had a gun to your head, I guess, for some reason, it was making you name Carole King songs. You obviously could say anything on Tapestry. You could also say Chains by the Cookies and maybe more famously by the Beatles. You could say The Locomotion. You could say Celine Dion's The Reason. You could say So Much Love by Benny King. The Animals' Don't Bring Me Down. Up on the Roof by the Drifters, The Porpoise Song by the Monkees, If It's Over by Mariah Carey. You could have even said Devil in a New Dress on Kanye West's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
I would never have said that one.
No, you wouldn't have. And she didn't write it, but her sample is in it. So my point is, you might not be as hard-pressed to name a Carole King song as you think you are.
No, I think I would have.
I mean, you may be right. But you could have given it a good try. But you're a 70s music listener, right? A lot of that classic kind of stuff. And I felt like Tapestry seemed pretty right up your alley. Some episodes we come into, and I think you'll like something, but I don't care what you score it. I think Tapestry is an album where I almost expect you to give it a 9.
And if I don't?
I mean, we'll see. Well, if you don't, I don't know what I'll do, but it'll be significant. I'm just saying, right off the rip here, that's kind of what I think might happen.
Wow.
You could prove me right or you could prove me wrong.
Calling his shot early.
I'm calling my shot right from minute 3. So let's get into it.
Would you like me to tell you if you're right?
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like no. That would kind of...
Then I won't.
It's fun for...
Hey, remember that I'll give you this offer.
Okay.
Next time, you're like, oh, I want to know now, and you're not giving me anything. And I'm like, I'm making you wait. And you're like, no, just give me something. Just remember, I offered.
Well, it just totally undercuts the drama of me calling my shot to immediately reveal... I don't know.
Usually when somebody calls the shot, you pretty quickly find out if they're going to land or not. They don't call their shot and then go take a nap and then come back. 8-ball, corner pocket. Boom. You know if you've done it or not.
8-ball, Connor pocket. 9-ball, Connor pocket is what I've called this time.
Oh.
But you're right. The shot calling does usually have a little more immediacy to it.
9-ball.
Anyway, let's talk about Carole King. And as usual, since you know everything, this will not be news to you.
Of course. This is merely for the audience.
Yes. Carole King, originally Carole Klein.
Not as good a name.
No, Klein and King. I kind of like that it's the same initials, actually.
Smart.
Smart to keep the same initials? Or smart to change your name from Klein to King?
Yeah, both.
Okay, yeah, I'm on board, sure. Although if you write songs this well, I think either name works just the same. Anyway, she was born in New York City in 1942. Her parents actually met in college during the Great Depression. They dropped out of school and they lived in a duplex, so they were able to rent the upper floor. Carole's mother, Eugenia, learned to play the piano when she was really young, and she introduced Carole to music at an early age. Apparently, her mother started to teach her the basics of piano when she was 3 years old, because little toddler Carole was just so excited when she heard her mom play the piano. It didn't take long before her parents realized that little toddler Carole Klein, had perfect pitch. She could tell exactly what note was being played just by hearing it. She could, name it. It's incredibly impressive. It's pretty rare. And her dad actually likes to use it as a party trick that he showed off to all of his friends, which I think is hilarious. Having all the guys over for poker night. Hey, watch this. Someone hits an E flat on the piano.
It's an okay party trick.
Okay. What's better?
My party tricks.
I mean, what are your party tricks?
Wouldn't you like to know?
It's probably the Pythagorean cup, whatever. I know all your party tricks. Carole started school at age 4 and pretty quickly skipped straight from kindergarten to 2nd grade. And she was learning piano and practicing all the way. By high school, she would start her own band called the Cosigns, very trigonometry inspired. And she officially made the change to the catchy stage name Carole King in her early teenage years. She also connected with a friend to record some demos in her spare time for $25 a session. You might have heard of that friend. His name is Paul Simon.
Never heard of him.
Really? Have you heard of Art Garfunkel?
Never heard of him.
Oh my goodness. I have failed you.
And also, I'm pretty certain I've heard of Garfunkel.
Have you? Well, then you've heard of Simon and Garfunkel.
Yeah.
Okay, well then that's Paul Simon.
Listen, I mainly was just going to keep denying that I knew anyone.
Honestly, what don't you know about Simon?
Yeah, I mean, what don't I know about Simon and Garfunkel? You're right.
He says. Anyway, Carole and Paul would obviously go on to be lifelong friends, and both music legends in their own right. In college, King also met her songwriting partner and future ex-husband, Jerry Goffin. Yes, I could say future husband, but I think saying future ex-husband kind of gives you a little more of the story, right? So, future ex-husband, Jerry Goffin. They got married shortly after she found out she was pregnant with her first child in 1959 when she was 17. The two would stay together until 1968, and in the intermittent years, they worked full-time, each of them, and spent nights writing songs together. It did not take very long for lightning to strike. Will You Love Me Tomorrow was the first major hit that they came up with, and it made its way into the hands of the Shirelles, and it became the first ever #1 hit by a black girl group in 1960. It put Carole and Jerry on the map. It's just the beginning of their story. They co-wrote so many songs. Chains, The Locomotion, It Might As Well Rain Until September, Halfway to Paradise, Take Good Care of My Baby, Going Back, You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. Throughout the 1960s, King and Goffin, they're landing cut after cut, hit after hit. It's just a steady stream of excellent music coming out of their office in the Brill Building, right? Tin Pan Alley style, you know what's up. But in 1968, they split up. And after the divorce, Carole moves across the country to Los Angeles. And she gets connected with other pop legends like James Taylor and Joni Mitchell. And they start working on her own recording career with a little bit more zeal, a little bit more enthusiasm. James Taylor was actually one of Carole King's biggest early supporters. He's kind of a massive persuasive force that led to her trying to record herself more. She released an album of her own called Now That Everything's Been Said as 1/3 of the trio called The City, but she really didn't love live performance much. That's not really her thing as a songwriter. You know, she's kind of a behind the scenes. So that record kind of disappeared shortly thereafter until the 80s when it kind of got dug up again. During this time, Carole King also contributed some piano parts to B.B. King's excellent record, Indianola, Mississippi Seeds. We talked about B.B. King on episode 133. We didn't talk about Indianola, Mississippi Seeds, but that's a B.B. King record that I've also scored and also love. Yeah, and actually did not know that Carole King was on it, so love it even more. Well, love it the same amount, but it's cool to know more about it. In 1970, King truly went solo with her first LP called Writer, very fitting for her, and it features a hit or two from her back catalog as a writer. It performs okay. It went to number 84 on the US Top LPs chart, but then a year later, in 1971, Carole King basically makes music history with her unprecedented sophomore album Tapestry, the one we have to talk about today. Tapestry has actually come up a few times on the podcast in the past, and that's kind of what led me to it. You know, we talked about, it was recorded here. or it was recorded by this person. You know what I mean? Like, I remember talking about Tapestry on a bunch of episodes. It kept appearing. And so I was like, I have to know this. And boy, am I ever glad that I do. So this is kind of a spin cycle episode. Obviously, as such a prolific writer, Carole King wrote and co-wrote every song on the record. Many of them are actually her own version of hits that were first cuts for other artists, but there are plenty of them that saw their very first release here too. Tapestry is a really piano-driven, acoustic-ish singer-songwriter pop, soft pop. I like it a lot. I mean, to say that she's friends with Paul Simon and James Taylor should kind of give you exactly the picture of what this album's going to sound like, if you know either of them. That's a style and genre you like, right? Feels like a thing you go to sometimes.
Never heard of it.
You've never heard of piano pop from the 70s?
Yeah, no, I like piano pop.
I thought you might. Carole went into the A&M Recording Studio B, formerly known as the Charlie Chaplin Studios, in January of 1971, and by February 10th, she'd released the finished album. Very quick turnaround.
Wow.
I know. The album features guitar, provided by James Taylor, some backing vocals from Joni Mitchell, and the work of other prolific instrumentalists like Ralph Schuckett, who would go on to write TV music for shows like Pokemon and Sonic X. Cooch Korchmar, maybe one of the best names we've ever said on this podcast. Cooch Korchmar has worked with everyone from Steve Perry to Linda Ronstadt. Russell Kunkel was the drummer for Jimmy Buffett, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, Neil Diamond, and more. Soul singer Mary Clayton was featured on the album. There's more than half a dozen other very, very good and very notable musicians contributing to Tapestry. And on its release, Tapestry hit the music world like a meteor. Critics loved it. It's consistently a 5-star, 10 out of 10, A-grade album. Ask Pitchfork, ask Rolling Stone, ask AllMusic. This is like it. Rolling Stone actually described Tapestry as a record full of surpassing personal intimacy and musical accomplishment. And the listening public agreed. Tapestry topped the Billboard 200 for 15 consecutive weeks, which is still, to this day, the record for a #1 stint as a solo female artist.
Impressive.
It is so impressive. In total, Tapestry spent more than 313 weeks, right? 6 years on the charts, second only to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. 302 of those 313 weeks were consecutive, non-stop. It was actually the longest charting album by a solo female artist until actually fairly recently. Adele dethroned her in 2017 with 21.
Wow.
Yeah, so we just talked about that. Tapestry, though, is still the #10 record on Billboard's all-time chart. Tapestry also topped charts in Canada, Japan, and Spain, and it cracked the top 10 in the UK, Norway, and Australia. In 2003, Rolling Stone dubbed Tapestry the 36th greatest album of all time, and in 2020, it moved even higher to number 25. 2003 is also the year that Tapestry earned a spot in the National Recording Registry from the Library of Congress. Heck, Glee even devoted an entire episode to the knockdown drag-out combo of Tapestry and Jagged Little Pill. They included both Alanis and Carole songs in there.
That's wild.
It is wild, right? I mean, I guess I never would really think to put those two together, but what a pair of incredible albums. Very gleeable, I think.
Yeah.
Tapestry is certified 8 times platinum in Australia, platinum in New Zealand, 2 times platinum in the UK, and an unbelievable 14 times platinum in the United States. That means it sold 14 million copies in the US. That's like if the entire population of New York City bought a copy of the album 1.5 times.
That is pretty wild.
It's a lot. Tapestry very handily won 4 Grammys for Carole King in 1971. It won Album of the Year. It won Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. It's Too Late won Record of the Year, making Carole the first solo female artist to win. And Song of the Year went to You've Got a Friend, which she was also the first woman to win. And Tapestry has a legacy that's unparalleled. I mean, it's inspired virtually every artist under the sun. James Taylor, Barbra Streisand, Rod Stewart, Amy Grant, Faith Hill, Celine Dion, the Bee Gees, Richard Marx, and more have all covered tracks from Tapestry. Like, that's people that have just re-recorded Tapestry songs, not to mention big influences. Amy Winehouse has cited Tapestry as a major influence. I mean, it's pretty much just a legend. I think Tapestry is like a quiet juggernaut album full of songwriting in an era that I feel like was so focused on being bigger and better and new in the 1970s, right? To compare this to like Dark Side of the Moon and all the stuff that happened with the Beatles. Like, Tapestry is a lot more quiet. It's smaller and it's softer, but I think it's just as powerful and adamant. It kind of feels like you've known it intimately forever, but it's just so different. Tapestry is so different, and that's what makes it so good. And I, for one, am very excited to talk about it.
Well, that's exciting.
I know. And Carole King's career continued. Her third album, called Music, once again a very appropriate title, Music, came out the same year, also 1971, and it peaked at number 3 on the charts with a top 10 hit of its own in Sweet Seasons. By the end of the decade, King would release 10 studio albums, with each one charting on the Billboard 200. Some were even chart toppers, but Tapestry kind of remained the magnum opus for her. It's a career-defining piece of work. She also actually dabbled in a bit of writing for films and spent some time starring in musical productions off-Broadway. In total, King released 17 studio albums before kind of soft announcing her retirement in 2012. She sold nearly 20 million records in the US, again, 14 of which were Tapestry alone. This album just is such a hit. Anyway, she's also got a staggering 118 Billboard Hot 100 hit songs.
That is a lot.
It is. That's an entire discography for some bands and artists, and they're all hits. Carole King's got a lot of awards and prestigious honors. She was awarded the Gershwin Prize in 2013, making her the first woman to win the award.
She's Gershon.
She is Gershon, fully. Gershon with the Gershwins. Carole King got an honorary doctorate from the Berklee College of Music. In 2014, she was the MusiCares Person of the Year, and in 2015, she received the Kennedy Center Honors, and she and Jerry Goffin entered the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1987 and earned the National Academy of Songwriters Lifetime Achievement Award in 1988. Together, they made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as non-performers in 1990. King herself made it in as an artist just recently, actually, in 2021. Carole also got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in 2012, the 2,486th star, to be exact. If you were curious, if that comes up at trivia night this week, now you'll know. If they say, who got the 2,486th star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, you buzz in, raise your hand, you say, Carole King. Got it?
Got it.
Great. And in addition to Tapestry's 4 Grammys, King has been nominated 5 other times and earned the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. 3 of her works are currently in the Grammy Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And as for other little trivia tidbits about Carole King, she's an avid advocate for the environment. She moved to Idaho, actually, in the late 70s, and has worked with advocacy groups for the passage of the Northern Rockies Ecosystem Protection Act. She's also testified before Congress 3 times on behalf of the act. And she's got a loose biopic and a Tony Award-winning jukebox musical about her and her life. It ran for 6 years on Broadway, the same amount of time that Tapestry was on the charts. So, yeah, that's super cool. That's the inside scoop on Carole King. Well, kind of the outside scoop, I guess. And the Mixtaper's going to come in now and give us the real inside scoop.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're going to find out what's true and what's a lie based on the facts that alleged facts. I always say facts, and it's very rarely 4 facts. Based on the things that he says.
Sometimes it is.
Anyway, we'll figure it all out. We're playing fact or spin. So their facts are their spins. Mixtaper, come on out. Wherever you are, it's game time.
Hey, it's me, the Mixtaper.
Oh, hello, Mixtaper. How are you?
Just dastardly.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, I think. Got any fun weekend plans? Have you ever made a tapestry?
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, think like a blanket, but for art.
No.
Oh, okay. Just thought I'd ask. How are we doing it this week? You got everything figured out? Should I start picking numbers?
I think I got everything figured out.
Okay. I'm excited for some Final Rampage. But I guess before we can Final Ramp, we kind of got to start at the bottom.
I've changed my mind. I'm no longer confident in my order. Pick something.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, that didn't last long.
Here, I'll give you, here we go. I'll give you options. Instead of having you just pick a number, I'll give you options. You tell me what order you want to pick. We haven't done that in a while.
Sure.
Would you like to hear about how she skipped a grade? About punctuation? About Otis Redding? Or about Gilmore?
What a coincidence, actually, that you say that. I just, yesterday, re-listened to our own episode about Otis Redding.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 114? I just listened to it. So let's start with Otis Redding. That feels coincidental.
Starting there. All right. Well, Otis Redding was part of her conception. Is that family friendly? is that viable?
Look, I mean, if you've got people that shouldn't hear that listening, this is the time to stop and skip ahead. I guess that's your warning. Otis Redding was a part of her conception, not physically.
Not physically.
Right, but just like in song. What song?
No, not in song.
Not in song? In what way?
In the sense that it wasn't really Otis Redding who was involved in her conception.
No, stop. Are you about to tell me they did the Aerosmith?
I don't know what the Aerosmith is.
I'm just thinking Love in an Elevator.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so the deep cut reference, if you haven't listened to the Otis Redding episode, is that the Mixtaper tried to lie to me and say that Otis Redding's music was used in Schneider elevators as default elevator music, but I foiled his plans by, subconsciously remembering that Otis is a brand of elevator.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Otis Redding was not involved at all, and I just got bait and switched for this fact.
Yeah, pretty much.
And you're just saying that her parents had a little too much fun on an elevator ride.
Correct.
What building was the elevator in?
No clue.
Okay, well then I guess you don't know how many floors they had to kind of take care of business.
Well, I know where it was, so that could maybe clue it in a little.
What do you mean? Okay, like the city?
Yeah, I don't know the specific building, but I know the location.
Like the latitude and longitude? Give me the coordinates. What location?
Well, it was at Brooklyn College.
Oh, it was in college. That explains a lot. How sure are they that that was the instance?
Sure enough to tell her, and then she told people.
I mean, why does she know that?
Maybe it's one of those things where they're like, this is a better story if we say this is how this happened. But is it a better story?
I don't know. I kind of think it's a little worse.
I don't know if I would be walking around telling people, yeah, our famous daughter was conceived in an elevator.
No, probably not.
I don't know if that's a story I'd be telling. So I guess they must be pretty confident to be telling it.
It honestly would make me a little uncomfortable to ride in elevators ever. If it were a story about me, I'm sure you'd get over it.
Elevators would be like your godfather in that scenario. It's like,
Well, that's not true. But I was just, every elevator I get on, I'd have to be like, what are the logistics?
I don't know anything about elevators.
I mean, do you know anything else? Is there anything else to know about this?
Not really. Just that she was conceived in an elevator.
It is really strange that you decided to go the Otis Redding route and not the Aerosmith Love in an Elevator route, which seems a little more direct.
I'll be honest. I saw elevators and I'm still haunted by Otis Redding.
Well, fair enough. Why would I believe this?
Why not?
And she's telling people about this?
It is on a list of 62 facts about Carole King.
Something tells me we may hear 3 more of them.
It is fact number 9.
Wow. Yeah, you know what? It's ridiculous if this is a spin. Why would you say this if it wasn't true, I guess? I mean, I'm just gonna go with fact. Sure, this is weird. Maybe that's why she's saying I feel the earth move under my feet.
Going with fact. Also, I can't believe we didn't start this episode off talking about how I'm coming off of a shutout last week.
Yeah, I know. You really did a good job with Vampire Weekend. Or I really did a bad job, not to give you too much credit.
Yeah. Well, your bad job continues. This is a spin.
You just lied about this to lie about it?
Well, yeah. Their parents met in an elevator at Brooklyn College, but
That's very different.
it's very different. Yeah.
There's meeting in an elevator, and then there's meeting in an elevator.
I kind of let my logic slip a little bit when you were making fun of me for not going the Aerosmith route. I was haunted by Otis Redding in the elevator, and I just really wanted to lie about elevators again and hopefully convince you this time. Make myself feel a little better.
Well, I hope you feel a little better.
Small victories.
That's a wild one.
But yeah, her father was a chemistry major and her mother was an English and drama major at Brooklyn College, and they met in an elevator.
Yeah.
Anyway, what'd you like to learn about next?
Well, you just brought up last week how you shut me out on Vampire Weekend, and they sang a song about the Oxford comma. So I guess I'm in the mood for a good old-fashioned punctuation fact next.
Well, Carole King is a fan of dead punctuation.
Dead punctuation?
Yeah.
Oh, how much punctuation is dead? Are we talking about, like, the interrobang?
Yes, actually, that is on this list. Yes.
Oh,
The
wow.
interrobang. You nailed that. Wow.
So you have a list of dead punctuation?
Of ones that she likes, yeah.
What are the other dead punctuation marks that she likes? The interrobang, by the way, it's a question mark and an exclamation point put together.
Yes.
I don't know why that's dead, because honestly, I use those two in combination so frequently to express bewilderment, I think, mostly. Mm-hmm. It'd be great if there's just one little button.
So you get the interrobang. You got the exclamation comma,
Oh.
which is just instead of a period at the bottom of the exclamation mark, it's a comma.
Yeah, I understand why that one's dead.
Yeah. Acclamation, which is like two exclamation marks at an angle and they share a period.
Ew, facing outward like a V shape?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a really angry cyclops.
Wait. If a cyclops was really angry, I mean, does he have two eyebrows? That's not how it would work.
I don't know. I don't know.
Why do you have two eyebrows for one eye?
It's a really big eye. He just shaved his unibrow to make it look like two.
Maybe.
The love point, which I don't know how to describe. It's a period with a chef's hat. That's how I'm going to describe that.
How mysterious. A period with a chef's hat?
I'll send you a picture of it after the fact, and you'll agree. That's what it looks like.
Well, you could probably send me a picture of it now if it exists. I mean, the fact isn't that you're making up the love point.
Oh, fair enough. Maybe I am. No. Oh, hang on. I now just realized what this is. It is two mirrored question marks that are like touching at the tops, but not at the bottoms, and they share a dot.
Oh, that would, look like a period wearing a chef's hat.
Yeah, as I was trying to find one that.
Oh, it's probably called a love point because they look like a heart where the question marks meet.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it looks a lot more like a heart than a chef's hat, but I see what you're going for.
Anyway, I got two more that she used. Authority, which is an exclamation mark with like a in at the top of it, like a little hump at the top.
Okay.
And finally, my personal favorite one on the list, the friendly period, which is just a period, but with like a little boat. It's like a period in a boat.
Interesting. Yeah, and these all have antiquated or obsolete uses, right? We got rid of them because we could express similar things with a normal set of punctuation.
Although some of them, like you said, really just should come back.
I mean, I agree. I've seen a resurgence in the interrobang lately.
Well, yeah, you knew about it, I guess.
Right, exactly.
Again, it blows my mind what you know.
Yeah. So why is she a fan of dead punctuation?
She likes using it in her song lyrics.
Oh, that's interesting. Does she use it any other times? It's hard to use in the era of computers where everything probably has some stupid Unicode you got to type in 19 digits for, but...
Oh, yeah, I have no idea. I just know she's used it in her song lyrics for some of the songs even that she has written for other people. So like if she's writing a love song, she might include a love point at the end of a statement that is supposed to convey, affection. Or she's used the acclamation point to demonstrate that you're supposed to like really punctualize, it's supposed to be like bang, like it's like extra double bang.
Right.
Stuff like that.
This is a curious one. When did all of these go out of like fashion? Were they obsolete when she was using them in the 50s, 60s, 70s?
I thought you might ask that, so I did look up some of them. Some of them I was able to find that information. The exclamation comma and question comma both were created in the 1980s.
Oh.
I don't know when they stopped being used. They weren't around very often, apparently.
Yeah, a lot of these feel more like novelty things than super particularly useful things.
Well, yeah. That's probably part of what makes them intriguing to use, right?
Yeah.
This one. They need to bring this one back. This would help a lot. Sorry. I'm now on a list I have another list pulled up that gives me more information about the different punctuations. There's one that she didn't talk about using, but it's called the irony mark, which would be great for when trying to convey irony.
I think it'd be awful for trying to convey irony.
See, if you had an irony point on that sentence, I would know.
Well, I did. I wondered if you heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I actually said that one with a snark mark.
Snark mark?
That's another one on this list called a snark mark. It's a little...
Wait, that's real? I thought you just made that up.
Yeah, that's real. It's just a period followed by a tilde.
I like that.
So it's like the Cyclops, but he has a wavy eyebrow and it's off-centered.
Darn it. I don't like this because I think this is really cool and I could see her kind of leaning into this. The problem is I could also see you finding out about dead punctuation and being like, this is perfect. And you found Carole King to attach it to.
I feel like you accuse me of that way more often than it actually happens. But go on.
Okay, I think this is a spin.
Spin. He's accusing me of it.
I'm saying it's a spin, and I think the main reason I'm leaning that way is because she said 1980.
For just that one.
Yeah, I know, but still. I think it'd be really cool if she used dead punctuation. It'd be really neat. But I don't think so. I think it's too cool of a fact.
Too cool for Carole King. She's not cool enough to use dead punctuation. You heard it here first, folks.
It's just the kind of thing where you would hear it and like it and bring it intentionally.
Like I said, I knew you were going to accuse me of that. Which is why this is a spin.
Oh, yeah. I knew it.
But not because I learned about it and wanted to bring it because I thought it was cool. I already knew about it and just came up with the idea of somebody who's known for their songwriting using cool songwriting like grammar.
Yeah, and expression of ideas. That's really...
Yeah.
You picked a great chance to try and get this one by me. I think a lot of artists, it might not have worked. Carole King had a really good shot.
And then you just undercut all of my hard work by just going, you probably thought it was cool.
Well, that ends a 6-round skid for me.
It does. And that sentence ended with a friendly period.
Of course.
Because we're friends here on this podcast. All my periods on this podcast are friendly.
That's good.
But I do use a couple authorities and acclamations.
Right.
And terabang is just such a fun word to say, too.
It is. If we're going to revive any of them, that's the way to go.
Enough about punctuation. What do you want to learn about next?
What do we have left?
Gilmore and skipping a grade.
Well, let's skipping a grade and talk about Gilmore, which I presume is leading us to, like, the Gilmore Girls.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, Gilmore Girls. She sang that song.
She sang that song.
Yeah, like the Gilmore Girls theme song.
Like the Gilmore Girls theme song. Yeah, like You've Got a Friend? Is that the Gilmore Girls theme song? I've never really seen a full episode of Gilmore Girls. I've been in its proximity.
And no, it's not You've Got a Friend.
What's the theme song for Gilmore Girls?
You're thinking of Golden Girls.
No, but that's different.
Aren't you? With the...
No, because that's a different song altogether. Thank you for being a friend.
I feel like, though, they both got girl.
And they start with a G. Alliterative G sitcom theme names with friendly theme songs.
Gilmore versus Golden. Yeah, uh-huh. Yeah.
That are Carole King-esque.
Because it is not.
Okay, well, what's the Gilmore Girls theme song?
She sings a lot of the songs used in the show.
Does the theme song have a name? Is it a song or is it just the Gilmore Girls theme song?
They use a version. It's not, she had to come in and do a special recording for it.
Uh-huh.
But it is her song, Where You Lead.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
And she does it with her daughter.
With her daughter. That's fun. You know why I got it mixed up? Where You Lead is right after You've Got a Friend on this album. And I knew I recognized both of them before listening to the album. Yeah, it threw me all kinds of off.
Yeah. Her and her daughter do the duet version of that song for Gilmore Girls, as well as a lot of the other music.
That's cool. Yeah, that makes so much sense. Makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I even disbelieve this one a little bit.
It was her daughter, Louis Goffin, or Louise probably, since it's a girl.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to say, I'm going to change to spin.
Whoa, what did I do? I'm sorry.
I was going to say fact, but I just don't know.
You said you didn't even disbelieve it a little.
I know.
What happened?
I don't know. Just the alarm bells are going off for some reason on this. It seems like a gimme kind of fact.
Dang.
It seems like it's so obviously true that it can't be true.
Yeah. The alarm bell saved you from getting another one right, because this is a true fact.
Oh, man. I should have just taken an easy gimme point.
Yeah, I didn't know how much you'd know about Gilmore Girls, honestly, and I thought it's a cool little tidbit.
It is. It just seemed too easy.
What if it's a cool little, real, true trivia tidbit? I didn't want to skip it. I saw it wasn't in your rundown.
No, it wasn't.
Thought about adding it to your rundown instead of using in fact or spin, but I decided to spend a little time in fact and spin.
Wow. Well, I did not follow where you led on that one.
Dang. Well, the place I led you to was skipping a grade.
Yeah, skipping a grade. Carole King, grade skipper.
Yep.
Right. We're talking about when she skipped first grade. Yes?
Yep.
Cool. Well, she did. So that part's a fact.
Yeah. But do you know why? Or like how?
By being smart, probably.
Well, yeah. But how do you think she got so smart?
Probably using dead punctuation marks, and the teacher was like, whoa, this is advanced.
And keep in mind, this was when she was 4. She was 4 in kindergarten, went through kindergarten, and then they said, nah, go right to second grade.
It's true.
She showed an exceptional faculty with words and numbers.
Ooh.
Thanks to her mother.
Words and numbers. That's pretty much all you learn in kindergarten and first grade, right? So, I mean, if she's ready, she's ready.
Yeah, it's a lot of it. Colors. I mean, it sounds like she didn't excel at colors. They didn't call it out at least.
Well, how can you really excel at colors? It's kind of like you know them or you don't. I can't like be really good at finding red.
There's a lot of colors out there to know as a first-year-old. Or as a
first-year-old.
As a first grader.
It's a colorful world.
It's a lot of colors.
That's true.
You got your standards that every little kid should know. Blue, green, red. Chartreuse. I can never pronounce that word. Is this chartreuse?
Chartreuse. There's another R.
Chartreuse, there's an R in there. But then you got your more advanced colors like purple.
I don't know if purple's a more advanced color than chartreuse.
But anyway, yeah, her mother made it so she was good with words and numbers.
What'd her mother do?
Helped her read the phone book.
Ew. Oh, sit your 4-year-old down to read the phone book?
Uh-huh.
Probably had perfect pitch from listening to dial tones. What did they do? Just start at A and keep going?
I don't know what the strategy was. Her mother gave her all sorts of interesting lessons, from music lessons, piano lessons, phone book lessons.
Yeah, only the essentials.
She learned to read and how numbers work. It's counting. That's the word I couldn't think of right there. Wow.
How numbers work.
She learned how
to count. Oh, no.
I guess I don't know if she learned how to count or if she just learned the numbers 1 through 9 from phone numbers. I don't know.
Well, I mean, honestly, super believable here because, I mean, her whole thing is wordplay and songwriting and verbal expression, but then also...
Yeah, and the phone book's full of that.
Well, I mean, just to talk about her advanced language skills, but then math also. Her high school band was named after trigonometry, so that's a strong indicator. I think Carole King grade skipper is a fact. I suppose... reading the phone book was the secret to all of it.
Carole King, phone book reader. Man, that sucks.
That sucks?
Well, I still need to get a couple on you in order to bring us to 50-50 before the end of the year of healing.
Yeah.
And I only got 1 back on you this week instead of 2 because this is a spin.
Unfortunate, you trickster. Oh, man. I thought that was going to be true.
Yeah, well, she did skip a grade, as you pointed out.
Yeah, she did.
But I made up the phone book thing.
Well, boo. That's pretty lame. That honestly, I mean, seems like an awful way,
yeah,
but a very good way to get kids to learn to read.
Is it a good way?
I mean, awful in the sense of insufferable, but I feel like it would work.
Oh, yeah, it would definitely work.
Man, I'm disappointed.
I got the phone book idea specifically because that's what she would sit on while her mother gave her piano lessons.
Oh.
In order to be able to be high enough to reach the keys when sitting on the stool.
Darn it. I think I knew that, too. My elevator brain let me down.
No alarm bells for that one.
I guess not. I should have taken the gimme fact.
The alarm bells were on break after
screwing me up for the last one. Yeah. Oh, I felt like I'd do better than 1 out of 4 this week.
I'm glad you didn't. Slowly pulling myself back towards 50-50 for this year of healing.
Yeah, I know.
That's our goal.
Well, it'd be wild if we really did that. I mean, the odds of that happening.
It's crazy. We're what, like 2 off?
The odds of that happening are so slim.
I know.
52 episodes with like 4 to 6 facts in an episode for us to end exactly split down the middle. I mean, it's looking more and more probable by the episode, which is unreal.
How many episodes we got left in the year of healing?
There's a few more, but man, it's close. Mixtaper, I was so far away today. So far away. Didn't make it happen.
Come back? Get closer?
Good advice. Good advice for me and Carole King, apparently. Come back.
Oh, come home again.
Oh, beautiful. Beautifully done.
You're way over yonder.
Well, we'll see you next week, Mixtaper. And you got a friend.
Oh, you just giving up?
Well, it's too late. Yes, I am giving up. I was just going to tell you that you've got a friend next week when you come back.
Well, you've got a dastard.
I know.
But not me, a different dastard.
Oh.
Can't have me. I'm unhavable.
That's an adjective.
Yeah!
That's one of those dead adjectives to go along with the dead punctuation. Welcome back, Connor.
Hello! Oh, wait. Say it again.
And welcome back, Connor.
What don't I know about Welcome Back, Connor?
Oh, I mean, I think you do know a lot about that. You do it every week.
Yeah.
Well, it's time, as usual, to talk about the album art on Tapestry. It's Carole King and her cat named Telemachus. She's sitting in the window at her home in Laurel Canyon, California. It was taken by Jim McCrary. What a picture. She's actually holding a tapestry that she was working on that she hand-stitched herself.
Wow.
Yeah. Does that cat look like a Telemachus to you?
A what?
Telemachus. Telemachus?
Is that a type of cat?
That's its name.
Oh. I was confused by the question.
I understand. Yeah, Telemachus. That's one of those dead names to go along with those dead punctuation marks.
I like that name. I think that's a viable cat name.
I think so too. What's not a viable cat name?
There's a lot of little silly cat abbreviation names for that. You can call him Telly, call him Maca.
That's true.
There's a lot of ways to play with Telemachus, which is an important thing with a cat name. You got to be able to name your cat and then call it 50 things that isn't its name
That's true.
to confuse it.
Okay, I've Googled. You know about Telemachus. You're the mythology guy.
Sure am.
Telemachus is the son of Odysseus and Penelope.
Yeah,
Who knew? I didn't know that.
I'm sure I did. I didn't have the mythology brain in.
And it's weird, honestly, that name is so Cyclops adjacent. Odysseus did all this stuff with Cyclopses, right? And Polyphemus?
Yeah.
Ah, man. Weird coinkydink. But that's the album cover. I really like it. I think it's perfect for this album. I mean, we're just chilling in her living room, which is what this whole album feels like. Sitting around a piano with Carole King and her band, just hearing her sing these songs to you one-on-one. It's an experience.
Sure.
And the experience begins with a high-energy starting track right off the bat in I Feel the Earth Move.
Yeah.
Man, I love it. Just right away, the vibes are so good. I Feel the Earth Move was the double A side to It's Too Late. They came out back to back. It's pretty universally loved by critics, and it actually started out as the big single from the album until it actually got usurped by It's Too Late on the other side. Truly a double A side. In the end, I Feel the Earth Move was still a chart topper in its own right on the Hot 100, and it reached number 6 in the UK and Australia, and it stayed at number 1 for 5 weeks.
Wow.
It also got a little bit of a late 80s resurgence with a popular cover done by the artist Martika. And, I don't know if you know this, but I'm sure you do, it also got a mini resurgence in the 2000s with that one woman on American Idol who sings this song. Do you know her?
I don't think I remember that.
She's like a waitress, and she changes her name to sound more fancy and stage-namey. Oh, if you haven't seen that, we need to watch it.
I don't think I have.
Wow. Well, what do you think about I Feel the Earth Move? Is it one you maybe knew beforehand?
Yes, I did know this one.
Yeah, me too.
I like it. It's got a good rhythm to it.
It really does. I love it. I mean, we start about as high energy as the entire album gets. Harvey Kubernick called the song probably the most sexually aggressive song on the Tapestry album, and he said it was a brave opening to an album whose mood is mostly mellow confessionality. But there's not much mellow about this. Right away, I'm struck by just her use of chords. She's so good at making memorable melodies around really interesting chord progressions, and she doesn't waste any time getting to it. It's not a long song at under 3 minutes, but I love that there's still chances to fit in really cool instrumental breaks. It's one of those songs that could tell a complete story and still have room for a guitar solo in the middle. Love it.
It's a good intro.
Definitely.
It sets you in the right mood for the album.
As good of an intro as it is, though, I think I really settle into the album on So Far Away. Beautiful song.
Yeah, I mean, ballad guy here. Hello.
Yeah, I know. Welcome, ballad guy. This is for you. So then you liked it better than the opener?
I like them both.
Okay.
For different reasons. They're different vibes.
Just in different ways? Fully different vibes. Well, kinda. James Taylor plays the acoustic guitar on So Far Away. It is certified gold in the US, and So Far Away charted as high as number 14 on the Hot 100. It was also one of the particular favorite songs of Amy Winehouse, so much so that it was played at her funeral.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's that classic parallel, we've come across it a few times before, between physical distance and emotional distance. Yeah, she sings You're So Far Away, moving along the highway, right? I'm far away from you. Doesn't anybody stay in one place? But also, it's emotional distance. I'm lonely. There's so many dreams I've yet to find. I really like the parallel. It's a simple metaphor, but it's effective. And the major seventh chords, as far as notches go, are the top.
I mean, it's just so pretty.
Yeah, it really is. What's cool about this song is that it doesn't really have a chorus or much like structure to it at all. It kind of just flows from point to point to point.
Mm-hmm.
She only says So Far Away like one time. 2 times, it's not much.
It's not much.
And it's so effective. That's how powerful it is. She doesn't need to say it much because you just get it. I also really like her voice. I'm really glad that she branched out into recording instead of just songwriting, because she's a great songwriter. But it's always so cool to hear a songwriter's interpretation of their own songs, I think. Even if someone else has covered it in a maybe more famous way or whatever. When we talked about it on the Otis Redding episode with, like, Respect, that he wrote and Aretha Franklin covered, just to hear his version of it, it hits different because he wrote it. And then track 3,
it's too late. Like, all 3 of these songs have had a distinctly different sound, but like the same vibe.
absolutely. I think that's a theme that continues throughout the album. Everything carves out its own niche, but it's, I mean, to put it in a bit of a metaphorical way, they're all a part of the same tapestry, right? Everything is woven together into this really cohesive, compelling album, but everything is its own stitch, its own series of threads in the tapestry. You know what I mean? The album is like a metaphor for itself. It's perfect. But yeah, It's Too Late is up next. It is musically one of my favorites. So good. People have said that It's Too Late blends her Tin Pan Alley kind of style with light jazz, and that's true. I really like the combo. And what a breakup song. She leaves the guy, and it's too late for him to stop her.
It's too late.
It's too late, baby. It's too late. They really did try to make it, so I'm told. Actually, the guy was James Taylor. She wrote this about James Taylor. Nice to know there's no love lost between them.
That's wild. What?
I know. She actually wrote the lyrics in one single day alongside Tony Stern.
It's too late.
It is too late, but it's never too late to listen to It's Too Late. I love it so much. Robert Christgau said, if there's a truer song about breaking up than It's Too Late, the world, or at least AM radio, isn't ready for it. And I mean, to be honest, we're still not ready for it. This song was huge. It topped 3 different US charts, including the Hot 100, and it went to number 1 in Canada as well. And it got bumped from number 1 by her own song, James Taylor's recording of You've Got a Friend.
Oh, wow.
It's Too Late won the Record of the Year Grammy, like I mentioned, and in 2003 was one of the inductions into the Grammy Hall of Fame, and Rolling Stone put it on their list of 500 greatest songs of all time, deservedly so. I think her lyrics are just awesome.
Yeah.
She has this style of writing that's so conversational and yet so, like, deep. You know what I mean? So poetic to it. Stayed in bed all morning just to pass the time. There's something wrong here. There could be no denying. One of us is changing, or maybe we just stopped trying. Like, those are all things that I would just say, but I would never be able to express myself in that way. Something inside has died, and I can't hide it, and I just can't fake it. The internal rhymes in that line alone. Something inside has died, and I can't hide it. Right? Like, that just rolls. And it's so well crafted. This is a strong contender for playlist pick. Honestly, all 12 of them are. But this is a part of it. Although I'll be honest, one of the piano parts from this album that always gets so stuck in my head, like when I think about Tapestry, it's almost the default piano melody to play, is the beginning of Home Again.
Home Again is so good.
It is. And I don't think it really gets talked about much. It seems to have a lower play count than a lot of stuff on the album. But that piano part, bump, 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 bum, is so good.
Yeah.
It's just catchy.
I just like how emotionally charged it is.
It is. And it's not a song that really makes a point. It's not assertive. I mean, the song starts with, sometimes I wonder if I'm never going to make it home again. And she's just out in the snow, the cold snow and the wet rain, just lost. You know, you get that sense of lostness throughout the song. Unlike a song like I Feel the Earth Move or It's Too Late, songs that are sure of themselves and really adamant, the fact that Home Again isn't, I mean, at this point in the album is what makes it kind of stand alone. It's a little blip of uncertainty on an album that's got so many moments where she's so sure.
I also really like Beautiful.
Beautiful. My first comment about that was underrated. I think Beautiful is super underrated. Although, I don't know how underrated it can be, really, because it's actually the title of the 2014 Broadway musical about her life. Beautiful, the Carole King story. Does that still qualify it as underrated? Being on one of the biggest albums of the decade, no, the century, and being the title of her biographical musical.
Yeah, I don't know if it's fair.
It feels underrated. Beautiful is really such a cool story, too. King said that it came to her spontaneously after she took a self-conscious subway ride. She didn't feel very beautiful at the time, and she projected her image of herself, those emotions that she had, onto other people's perception of her. Because she didn't feel beautiful, she thought that people were looking at her thinking that she wasn't beautiful, which is a really nuanced sentiment. And I mean, really, honestly, honestly a very mature sentiment for someone writing this album when she was as young as she was.
Yeah, I don't know.
But because she did the whole song spontaneously, there are some creative choices that she said she wouldn't normally have made in here. So Beautiful has a lot of unique rhyme schemes and rhythms, etc. Like just different stuff that she wouldn't consciously choose to do. She just did in the spontaneity of writing the song in the heat of the moment. And I think that shows, I mean, Beautiful is very different structurally than most songs, just generally, not even songs on this album, just in general. Beautiful kind of, again, goes beat to beat to beat to beat. Not really a verse or a chorus or a hook.
Yeah, it just goes.
Yeah, it just gets on a train, and you just go from point A to point B.
Yeah.
There's no returning, there's no backtracking. I love it.
You know where the train's going?
I've got a guess, but where's the train going?
Seattle.
Seattle. Wow. I did not know that. That was not going to be my guess.
A little known fact about Seattle.
What?
Seattle's way over yonder.
Yeah. Anyway, Way Over Yonder is the next track on the album. Good old track 6.
Way over yonder.
What a good song.
Where she's bound.
I do really love just that line. It is where she's bound. It's where she can find shelter from hunger and cold and
In Seattle.
easily find the sweet taste and good life. I like that. I think Way Over Yonder is a phrase people don't say enough.
Says you.
I don't know. How many Over Yonders do you hear? In a week, maybe.
You're just not living life full enough.
I'm just living a close life. This song is really soulful.
It is.
I don't quite know how to pin down the vibes of Way Over Yonder. Interestingly, it's the longest song on the album to this point, by almost a minute. Doesn't feel like it. I think it's probably the song that would end side A of a long playing record. And I think it's a great side ender. But as good of a side ender as Way Over Yonder is, we got an even better side opener in track 7. You've Got a Friend. Another one you knew beforehand, perhaps?
Yeah.
Did you know the Carole King version beforehand?
I never stopped to think about it. I don't know what version I know.
See, I think you may know, or may also know, the James Taylor version of You've Got a Friend.
That might be the case.
It may be. They're strikingly similar. So much so. Get this. Both James Taylor and Carole King's version both used the same musicians.
Oh, wow.
They both came out in 1971, and they were both so popular. Each of them earned a Grammy from this song. James Taylor got Best Male Pop Vocal Performance. Carole King got Song of the Year. James Taylor's version also topped the Hot 100 and hit number 4 in the UK. Supposedly, the song actually started out as a response to the line in James Taylor's Fire and Rain, "I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend." And it was also inspired by her moving away and leaving her friends behind. So it's got a couple different roots in there. She said, "The song was as close to pure inspiration as I've ever experienced. The song wrote itself. It was written by something outside myself through me." And it's not often inspiration strikes quite like that, but it's made something special in You've Got a Friend.
Yeah, I guess you said the whole album is a playlist contender, but I was surprised to hear you say that on It's Too Late and not You've Got a Friend.
Are they not both playlist contenders?
Well, they are, but I think You've Got a Friend is maybe the best track on the album.
Really? I think the biggest thing for me with You've Got a Friend is I definitely knew James Taylor's version first and most predominantly. And so I think it's the same kind of thing you talked about with like the Doobie Brothers, where just the one you know first is maybe the one you kind of default to.
Yeah.
Because again, there's no difference between the two of them. They're practically the same in every respect. But it's probably, as far as like songwriting goes, yeah, there's a reason it was the Song of the Year Grammy winner. Ooh. Yeah, at the 14th Grammys, it won Song of the Year over some stiff competition, including Rose Garden, Me and Bobby McGee, It's Impossible, and Help Me Make It Through the Night. Yeah.
What did you think of Where You Lead?
Oh, you mean the song from Gilmore Girls?
Yeah.
Yes. Definitely one I had heard beforehand. Although I guess I'm not sure if I heard this version of the one covered by her and her daughter and added to the Gilmore Girls title sequence. Still just a great song. Honestly, it kind of has echoes of some of the previous songs on this album. It just kind of feels a little bit like I Feel the Earth Move mixed with So Far Away in some ways. I like it a lot. I like the vocal harmony in here. There's a couple of backup vocalists that really sell some of the parts of the chorus. And this is the second of 2 songs on the album that Carole King co-wrote with lyricist Tony Stern. Apparently, Carole had everything done except for the bridge, and she brought the song to Stern and said, "Please help. I'll give you a co-writing credit if you help me write the bridge. And how could you not take her up on that offer? So she did. It's a great song. It's actually biblically inspired. It's based on a line in the Old Testament book of Ruth where a woman tells her mother, where you go, I will go. So that's where the concept came from.
I see.
It's just a great song. Where you lead, I'll follow. I'm with you. I'm by your side all the way. It's such a nice, refreshing kind of antithesis to So Far Away and It's Too Late. Actually, the back-to-backs. So Far Away and It's Too Late, it's the hard breakup, it's the emotional distance, it's being separated from someone, being distant. And now we've got You've Got a Friend and Where You Lead, about being close to someone and following someone and intentionally just investing in a relationship with somebody. And I really like that we can honestly kind of comfortably cover both extremes like that on this album.
Sure.
Yeah, neither feels out of place. And then Will You Love Me Tomorrow kind of hovers in between the two, where, yeah, we're in this and we're committed and we're doing great, but like, how long will it last? Will You Love Me Tomorrow is an interesting one. It's actually a self-cover. Goffin and King wrote this back in the day. This is their first hit. Like I said, that went to the Shirelles and made them the first all African-American girl group to hit #1. Rolling Stone ranked Will You Love Me Tomorrow the 126th greatest song of all time. And it did, actually, back in the day, get banned on some radio stations because, you know, early 60s pop radio and slightly sex-focused lyrics did not always mix.
Yeah.
When the Shirelles released it, fun fact, its B-side was Boys, a song later covered by the Beatles.
Very nice.
Yeah. The Shirelles version is a little more up-tempo. King's version is way slowed down. And Will You Love Me Tomorrow actually became a staple of her live shows. She loves it, and rightfully so. Actually, the song is featured 4 times in Beautiful, the musical about her life, making it the most featured song in the show. I think this song is so sweet and, like, rich. This is a song with a lot of depth. Not that the other songs don't have depth.
But they don't.
I don't know, this song has a lot of heart.
This one does. No, this one's probably even more, like, soulful than Home Again.
Yeah, and I mean, it's the defining characteristic of this song, right? When I think of a song like I Feel the Earth Move, I think of the energy. When I think of So Far Away, I think of the melody. But, like, when you think of Will You Love Me Tomorrow, you don't think of the melody. Hardly at all, really. You think of the heart behind it. It's great. Totally understandable how that one went to #1. Totally understandable why she loves it so much. And then we get kind of the sore thumb of the album a little bit in Smackwater Jack.
Great name for a song.
Yeah, it is. Great name for a Jack, really. Smackwater Jack is another Goffin King cut. She released it as the B-side to So Far Away, and those songs could not be more far away in many regards. They are pretty much the album's polar opposites. It's been called an up-tempo shuffle, and Smackwater Jack's about a fictional outlaw named Smackwater Jack. And it's interesting because it's a storytelling song with characters. We kind of zoom out into this third-person narrative perspective instead of these first-person, real-life inspired songs that we've seen so far on the record. I think it's really the lone exception. The one time we're not looking through Carole King's eyes at the world, and we're just looking down at Smackwater Jack. How's it land? How's the shuffle style grab you? It's definitely unique.
I like it. I like the bounce to it.
No, I agree. It's kind of a good mood lifter. It's nice to sandwich Will You Love Me Tomorrow in between more uplifting songs like Where You Lead and Smackwater Jack. Not that Smackwater Jack's uplifting thematically. I guess it's about a criminal kind of killer, but it's fun, and that's what's uplifting about it. Also, fun fact about Smackwater Jack, I'm sure you remember Quincy Jones.
Never heard of him.
Never? I don't think that's true. Quincy Jones covered Smackwater Jack, and he made it the title track of his own 1971 album. So that's a fact I did not know, and I kind of want to hear Quincy Jones cover Smackwater Jack. Maybe we should do that as a Spin Cycle album. Who knows?
That would be fun.
Let's Smackwater Jack. Finally, we get a title track way down at track 11 in Tapestry. I guess I didn't mention it before. I really like the album title Tapestry because, I mean, as she talks about in the song, her life has been a tapestry. It's an amalgamation of all the experiences she's had, the people she's loved and lost, and the things that she's seen and done. Like, it's all woven together into one person. And this album, like I've talked about, I guess, extensively earlier, is almost like a tapestry, woven together into one cohesive piece of art through individual songs. And I think just calling the whole album Tapestry, it couldn't be more perfect. It is spot on the situation for these songs that are so personal to her and about her life, except Smackwater Jack. And just overall, everything about this is a tapestry. It's great. She said that the song Tapestry, quote, just sort of happened, that I had started a needlepoint tapestry a few months before we did the album, and I happened to write a song called Tapestry, not even connecting the two up in my mind. I was just thinking about some other kind of tapestry, the kind that hangs and is all woven or something, and I wrote that song. So it's, I guess, not related to the tapestry that's on the cover or that titled the album. But there you go. I think Tapestry would be a great closing track if there weren't better closing tracks on the album.
Yeah. Like, it's a good closing track.
Honestly, perfect.
Just not when it's on this album.
Right.
I like the vocal rhythm for this one. It's very syncopated. Bum, 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 bum.
Well, it's got a very strong, like, downbeat to it. I like that she, tapestries are things that I associate with, like, medieval England. You know what I mean? Like, a long time ago kind of art. And she kind of incorporates that imagery, that association that we all have with tapestries, into the lyrics about drifters with leathered hides and coats of many colors, a rutted road and a river rock. Someone turns into a toad, and there's like spells and knights and sparrows, and it just feels very almost medieval in its imagery, which is just spot on perfect for a tapestry song. And she tells the story through the context of weaving it into a tapestry, which is so cool, and I just like it a lot. But yeah, it's got closing track vibes. You might think the album is over until you get one more track ahead and hit just the album closer to close all album closers. A grand slam in You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. Wow. Goffin and King co-wrote the song, and the original, probably the most famous version, was released by Aretha Franklin in 1967. Her version very quickly became a signature song for her, and it went on to be number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. It's since been entered into the Grammy Hall of Fame, and in 2021, it made Rolling Stone's 500 Greatest Songs of All Time list at number 90. So this is a top 100 song of all time.
Wow.
According to Rolling Stone. I know. The song was inspired by Jerry Wexler, the co-owner of Atlantic Records. There's a really weird backstory to this one, too. He was thinking about the idea of a natural man, I guess whatever that means and why ever he was thinking about it. And he's driving down the road, thinking about natural men, and he drives past Carole King on the road. Probably, I guess he's driving near the studio where she's headed. I don't really know. Maybe he just sees her out and about. But he rolls down his window, and he's like, "Hey, Carole." He yells out to her that he wants a song for Aretha Franklin's next album about a natural woman. So Carole's like, "Wow, that's brilliant. It's genius. I love it. Natural woman, Aretha Franklin, I got it." And she loved the idea so much that she actually gave Jerry Wexler a co-writing credit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, very generous, very nice. And like she did with Will You Love Me Tomorrow, King's version of Natural Woman is way more stripped back. It's just a piano, a vocal, and a bass for the most part. Probably the most stripped back, scaled back song on the album, at least maybe since So Far Away. And I think it suits the song really, really, really well. John Landau called Natural Woman one of Tapestry's, quote, pleasantest moments, which I really liked. What do you think? Is it a pleasantest moment?
It's a pleasantest moment.
Good. Yeah, I think it's just a great track. It's honestly incomparable. It's a great love song. And a great self-love song to that point. Really good relationship dynamic. But yeah, that's the album.
Already here at the end.
I know. It's been a journey. What a good journey. What an album. Man. Shall we do some final spin?
I guess we shall.
Fantastic. I love this album. I love this album a lot. Every song is its own little adventure. Every song is like so well crafted, so well constructed. There's so much to dig into lyrically, musically. Every song is memorable. I feel like there's no weak moments on this album. None really weak. Obviously, when you put them into an arena and compare them to each other, yeah, some come out on the top and some come out on the bottom. But the worst song on Tapestry is better than the best song in a lot of places. My scores, and I think they may be too low even still. Music, I'm giving a 90. Top notch. Great. I love the songs that have hooks and choruses. I love the songs that are point A to point B songs. No misses. It's great. Lyrically, giving it a 90. I love the love songs. Love the longing songs. I love the You Got a Friends and the Smackwater Jacks. Instruments and production, I'm giving an 88. Her instrumentation is great. It sounds a little old.
Yeah.
That's all I can really say about it. Not even in a bad way. Honestly, it's kind of in an endearing way now, because you listen to this and you know that it's like such a historic album.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would land the same if it sounded newer, if it was remixed or remastered or anything like that.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have that same charm to it.
No. So it's not a knock at all, but I'm giving it an 88 for instruments and production. Overall vibe, 93. Probably could very easily be persuaded to move higher. I just, man, really like it a lot. What an excellent way to spend 45 minutes. Just sitting with Carole King around a piano in her living room with Telemachus. Just living life. I love it. That's a 91.4 overall score, putting this album at number 63. As far as albums we've talked about, that's just above Mothership by Dance Gavin Dance and just below Walls by Kings of Leon, which again, I still think that might be a little low. But that's where it is for me, number 63. How about you? Now's the time we finally get to see if my shot was called correctly. I predicted, well, not predicted so much as I expect this to be in the 9s. I feel like this is as up your alley as they come.
It's pretty up my alley. Liked it a lot.
Yeah, that's promising.
It's a good album, quick album. All the songs stand out on their own. There's not really any song on there that gets mistaken by another song. You know, sometimes we have albums where it's like the songs all start to bleed together.
Right, like the All American Rejects Soup.
But yet they all also go together. They're not like this just random collection of songs that don't feel like they fit.
Mm-hmm.
Some good singing, some good lyrics, some good vibes. But I don't know if you're going to like where I've put it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm mentally bracing myself.
Because this one's going...
I'm curious. I guess I'm curious to hear why you put it where you put it once you've put it there. I'm curious to hear your justification.
This one's going right above Tina Turner.
Above Tina Turner. Well, I mean, that gives it a 9.
It does give it a 9.
Okay. Boy, scaring me like that.
But is that too low of a 9? I mean, barely a 9.
That is barely a 9. It might be too low of a 9.
Mm-hmm. I think the oldness of it was weighing it down a little for me.
Interesting. Okay.
You know, you put on, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but you put on like a Journey song. Like, pick a popular Journey song, Open Arms, anything you want, really. And, like, it doesn't necessarily sound stuck in its time, even though it's older.
No.
This, you put it on, it feels a little stuck in its time.
Yeah.
And so, if I'm not in a very specific mood to listen to that time's music, which I'm normally not.
I mean, I guess.
Like, it's one of those things that I wouldn't, you know, you said what a time it would be to spend 44 minutes and 33 seconds just sitting listening to Carole King, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if her song came on a playlist, I would never skip it, but I'm not going to necessarily seek it out and listen to the whole album in a row.
Well, that's fair enough.
And so low 9.
I guess. Well, good. I guess my shot was called right.
And I'm giving it a unit of balls in the corner pocket.
I did. I got my 9 ball in the corner pocket.
Yeah.
I forgot about that joke. Wow, it's been a minute. Fantastic. Well, I'll take a called shot any day.
Heck yeah.
Is that a good... This feels like a good Year of Healing record.
Sure.
It's a good one to know, I think, regardless of whether it's high or low in your 9s. I think this is an important album to know.
I think it was a safe pick.
I mean, true.
I think the reason you called it, I mean, pick something that isn't right up Connor Alley and then call your shot, and I'll be a little more impressed. You know?
Okay. Well, there's plenty of time for that in the future. It's just Year of Healing. You know, I wanted to heal a little bit.
Yeah, you know, you're playing it a little safe in the Year of Healing. You want to make sure we're healed. I get it.
Precisely.
But my playlist pick, I'm just going to go ahead and take You've Got a Friend.
Okay.
And my top 3, let me get that out of the way before you give me your playlist pick. In album order.
Yeah.
It's Too Late.
Okay. I'm wondering if you can limit yourself to just the normal 4.
Home Again.
Okay.
Honorable mention to the underrated, but maybe not underrated, Beautiful.
Ah, yes. Title of the musical about my life. Maybe still underrated.
And You've Got a Friend.
Wow, really strong kind of early middle for you.
Yeah.
You burned through all your top 3s by track 7.
Mm-hmm. They were burning a hole in my pocket.
Yeah, I suppose. Got to get rid of them.
So what's your playlist pick?
Man, I would take You're So Far Away, but you took the ballad and You've Got a Friend. And I don't really want to go with 2 of the slowest songs on the album.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of leaning still towards It's Too Late.
Still, It's Too Late? Playlist contender.
Yeah, I think it is. And I think it's going to have to be the playlist pick. It is no longer contending. It's too late to contend with It's Too Late. There you go. That's the episode. It's too late. You got a friend. Hey, you've got a friend in us. You can find us on social media at SpinItPod Official on Instagram and at SpinItPod on X. And of course, on the web, home again at www.spinitpod.com. If you've got a friend, I'm making a lot of "you've got a friend" jokes at the end of the episode. That's fine. But if you've got a friend, where you lead them
Is to our podcast.
is to our podcast. Yeah, and you should tell a friend who is beautiful, even if they're way over yonder.
And make them drink it, unless they're a horse. Then you can't make them drink it. But otherwise, make them drink.
Boy, that was a stretch.
Yeah, I know.
Where you lead, I will follow, but you can't make me drink. It's friends by a horse. Need me to be. Anyway, tune in next week to hear Connor say a silly phrase like this.
Do not argue with the Pickle Queen. She has spoken. She's danced.
Ridiculous. And we will see you next week for episode 153, moving right along toward the end of the year of healing.
Moving right along.
There you go. Okay, have fun. Thanks, love you. Bye. See you next week. Keep spinning.
I said my keep spinning with an exclamation.
Oh, mine had it in interrobang. Keep spinning?
But they didn't have enough exclamation to that. Felt just like a normal question mark.
I don't know how to make it more. I'm not familiar enough with the interrobang to know how it should be spoken.
Maybe put a little more emphasis on like keep, but then turn it into a question towards the end of spinning. Like, keep spinning! And then you have to put a little question on the end.
Well, that didn't sound questiony enough. We gotta learn how to interrobang. They should just call it defunctuation.
Oh, I like that. That's better.
It is. Hey, big punctuation, hire me.
We should have told them to tell a friend named Jack who wants to smack water. Go find a Jack that's smacking water and tell him about.
Lead them to it, but
Hey, you can lead a Jack to water, but you can't make him smack it.